Hello, welcome, everyone. I want to say thank you so much for joining, and I want to begin by saying happy Father's Day. So, if you're watching me from YouTube, you're watching me on Facebook, I want to thank God for your life, and I believe that all fathers they're doing very well, and I know that God will continue to keep them and continue to make sure that fathers will continue to be incredible to their families. They will continue to be incredible to those that they really care for. So I'm really happy for all those joining me today. So if you're joining me for the first time, this is Chinda Chinda. You can just share this with your friends and family. We're not going to be long today, but I believe that what we're going to share in relation to this Father's Day is going to be very relevant, and also it's going to be very impactful for those that are going to watch this or watch this later. So I really appreciate every one of you that are tuning in. So today is Father's Day all over the world, and it's being celebrated all over the world. And I believe that we all are excited to um, be fathers, and I know that God has a better plan for us. So today I will be talking about something which I believe that every father need to be very pay attentive, pay attention to, or those that are yet to be fathers as well. And I believe that wives, this is also important because without the wives, there won't be any fathers. And that's very important. So without the women, we're not going to call ourselves fathers. And I'm privileged to have an amazing and beautiful wife that have given me two lovely kids. And I thank God for that. So I'm just going to play a video, just about a minute. We'll come back and then we're going to dive into what we're going to be doing today. So this is provided by Married Life TV. If you're watching this on YouTube, please, I would like you to comment. I would like you to share. And also for those watching on Facebook, I would like you to comment. I would like you to share as well. And we're going to have a wonderful time this afternoon. So I'm just going to play a video and then we proceed to what we will be doing today. Okay. So welcome back. So we are talking about Father's Day, and it's exciting to know that we have fathers, and fathers are relevant, fathers are very important. So, for those that are watching, this is from Married Life TV, and I'm Chinda Chinda, and I believe that. Being a father is a gift from God, and it's a privilege to be a father because there's a lot you can do being a father, and you are shaping a generation, you are affecting thousands and possibly millions of life. And every one of us that exist in this world, we never came from an animal, we never came from a tree, neither did we come from somewhere that nobody have any recognition for. Every human being comes from a human, and a father is always responsible in bringing another life to this world. And I want to thank God for giving the opportunity for me and for several others that are watching, are going to watch later, to be fathers, and for those that are yet to be fathers. So the essence of today is just to highlight some realities of being a father. And I'm going to be frank as much as I can. And also, we're also going to talk about the risk when the father is no longer there, the risk and the challenges of fathers not being present. And then we're going to talk about the rewards, because there's significant reward that happens when we have fathers that, rise up to their responsibilities and they're able to do incredible things. But I also want to say something here to acknowledge the ladies, acknowledge the women, acknowledge the incredible wives that are doing great and amazing things in several homes, trying to help and encourage so many children to continue to have an incredible life. So please, I would like you to share this if you're just joining, and also put your comments on the box as I begin to share your experience of being a father or as a mother. How do you value your husband as a father? And for those that are responsible for looking after any child, because when I say father here, you might be thinking, well, I don't have a child, so this does not pertain to me. But it's important to know that as a male figure, it doesn't matter whether you have your own son or you have your own daughter or not. It's important to know that every one of us are responsible in shaping the future generation. Okay, if you're a teacher, if you have cousins and nieces, you have nephews, it doesn't matter as long as you are responsible in helping in one way or the other, giving advice, and they're looking at you as someone that is very important in their lives. It would be good and relevant that you live up to your expectation and the standard of being a father or a male figure among other children, whether they are yours or whether they are not yours. So I will begin first and foremost by talking about the reality of being a father. And I want to say that the reality of being a father is something that everybody should be happy about. Okay, but sometimes we are prepared, sometimes we are not, if you know what I mean. As a Christian, as a believer, I believe that as a father, you are responsible to support your kids to grow up and to become what God wants them to be. But I want to say that, what is the reality of being a father? You see, when your wife tells you she's pregnant, the reality hits you, you know, that you are on your journey to fatherhood. Okay. And sometimes some men deny, "Oh, I'm not responsible," especially when they are not in any committed matrimonial relationship. They run away because they're so scared, they're so worried. How could I become a father by now? Because they were not ready and they were engaging in a sexual intercourse outside marriage, and a baby have arrived and they're running away. Sometimes they deny, and sometimes the responsibility lies on the woman for a long time or almost forever, which is a sad thing. But it's important to know that, as a host, as someone that is married and you have a woman in your life, when she tells you that she's pregnant, then the reality hits. Okay. And at that point in time, you need to know that you need to live up to the expectation. You need to know that that is your job, that is your work. Okay. Now, when I got married and my wife was pregnant for our first baby, it was a little bit interesting, in the sense that, I was just wondering, okay, how we gonna do this. I started looking for ways to read. I started looking for ways to study. I started looking for things to do because I was excited. At the same time, I was nervous. You know what I mean? You're happy for something, but sometimes you're wondering how you're gonna cope, how you're gonna deal with this, because you've read a lot of things some may say about children, about the sleepless night. And again, it's like your life is completely mortgaged, if you know what I mean. It's like everything about your life now is taking over. So that moment, it looks like you don't have a life anymore. And if you're not careful, you might be very shocked on how to deal with that pregnancy. So yes, when she told me she was pregnant, I was excited, but at the same time I was nervous and I was wondering how am I going to cope, how we're going to do things. But now, the boys are over 10 and they've grown. It's a blessing, which I'm going to talk about the reward later. But it's important to know that when you are in a position of being a father, okay, or even a male figure, it's absolutely important for you to know that there's a huge responsibility that lies on you. And a lot of these children, or a lot of these young people, nieces and nephews, they are watching, they are looking at you, and they are saying that, okay, this is a male figure in my life, this is a father in my life, and they will want to learn and they want to be better as human beings. So when your wife tells you that you're pregnant, then you have no choice than to begin to plan and strategize on what to do going forward. And now sometimes, because we live in a world that people do a lot of things, and what I mean by a lot of things is we have God as the standard and is the principles of God, but people get into premarital affairs, and in the process, some of the women, they get pregnant. Okay, it doesn't matter as long as the woman is pregnant, she's that baby is human. All right. Yes, unfortunately, because of sin, this has happened. But the human being is normal. The human being in that womb of that woman deserve to live and deserve to be looked after. So this idea of running away and denying and sometimes absconding or not even looking for ways to support the process why you are responsible for it, it is absolutely a sad thing. Okay. And sometimes you see people, they have to go and do paternity tests to even prove that they are fathers, when you can see clearly the baby looks like them and the baby features is completely like the father, but he's still denying because he doesn't want to take responsibility of his choices and his action. So it's important for us to know that when we become fathers, God expects us to live up to that expectation, and the best way to do that is for you to be in a matrimonial union, in a union that God has sanctioned, has blessed, and for you to start looking for way to build and do something that will support the wonderful kids that God is bringing into your life. Now we've talked about the reality. Okay, for those watching, please, you can share your experience on the comment box. You can tell me some of the things you own. What was your experience and how are you coping? And if you're a new father or you're just a male figure in your family, you're dealing with your siblings, you're dealing with your nephews and nieces, just share with us. We want to learn from you. So I want to talk about the second aspect now, which is risk. Okay, there's a lot of risk associated being a father as well, and that's very important for us to know. There are risks associated, and that risk is the way we behave, the way we act, and if we're responsible adults. You see, if we are not responsible adults, if you are not looking after the kids the way they should be looked after, then that can be very challenging and very problematic. And that is why it's important for us to ensure that we don't allow these challenges to ruin our relationship with our kids or even trying to help them, because there's a lot of data that supports that many children are going through so much unbelievable pains in their lives because of not having a present father in their lives or consistent father in their life, or having a form of role model in their lives as a male figure. So some of the risk of absent fathers include anxiety and insecurity. And then you also have aggression and relationship troubles. If a child is in a home that has a father, okay, had a male figure, it will help them not to be insecure or have low self-esteem, which we're going to talk about in the reward later. It will support them not to see themselves as they are just by themselves, loneliness. But if we don't act and support children, some of these challenges that we're talking about, anxiety, sometimes even depression, relationship problems, many children, they fall into it. And many of us, when we grow up, right, as we are growing as adult or even as adult now, a lot of things that we are doing is what we picked up from our parents. There's a study that showed quite interesting data. That study was from Mail Online. It says study shows girls with absent fathers more likely to develop depression. That is very sad. Okay. And these are studies that have proven that, a lady, a girl, she need a father in her life. And we as fathers, I know that we have so many responsibilities we think we are pursuing, but I think it's important to have clarity on what is more important in our lives. If you have a child, if you have someone that calls you a father, regardless, it's important for you to look after them. It's important for you to do whatever it takes to ensure that your children are looked after properly. Now, we have another study that showed that homelessness, 90% of runaway children have an absent father, exploitations, abuse. So, fatherless children are at greater risk of suffering physically, emotionally, and also sexually. And that's from allforkids.org. That is so sad. But it's important for us to know that these things are realities. A lot of kids that have run away, a lot of kids that are going through so much physical abuse, violence, crimes, a lot of them that are emotionally drained, having some emotional, intelligent problems and issues, and sometimes abused, sexually assaulted, maltreated, is simply because they don't have a father. Because the father is there to protect them, father is there to help them. Now, we're not diminishing the work of the mothers. The mothers are doing incredible and amazing work. But it's important for you to know that in every family, both genders are very important. One cannot say one is more important than the other. And I feel children that just have only one gender, yes, many of them will have a lot of statistics that shows they've grown up to become incredible, amazing, and their mothers have done great work where the father has run away, is no longer there. But I want you to know that that shouldn't be the norm. Okay, that shouldn't be something we call standard, because every child have the right to a male figure or a father in their life. So it's important for us to know that some of these children that we call runaway kids, or we see some children that are so dysfunctional and distorted in their behavior in their lives, we might be wondering why. But if you go deeper, you found out that a lot of them do not have a proper positive role model as a father. And sometimes they have father in their lives, but it's so sad that the role that the father is providing is not positive in their lives, but rather negative and very, very abusive. And I just feel so sorry for those children. And it's important not to just let this slide. If you see a child that is going through so much pain and suffering, it's important for you to do something about it so that that child would not be in a state of continuous physical, emotional, or sexual abuse. Fathers are very, very important. Now, we have another thing again that we said having a biological father who maintained a close relationship with his son, whether or not he lived in the family home, might be crucial in preventing susceptible boys becoming criminals. That's according to the guidance, right? It's so, so important. There are a lot of children today that have good relationship with their fathers. Many of them would not be in the state where they are today. If you go to prison, I remember watching one of the documentary in the United States, and they were speaking to so many prisoners, and so of the male, female prisoners, even the female women prisoners as well in different countries in the United States. What they shared was quite phenomenal, and a lot of them talked about not having a father, or even if there was a father, it was very abusive. The father was not ever present, and now most of these children ended themselves in jail. So criminalities that is of increase of different ways today, sometimes is because there is no good male role models. Because if the father is not providing that positive influence over their children or over the ones that they're supposed to look after, now there could be a bad role model out there that will show them love, that will manipulate them in so many ways. And then they will move them into drugs, move them into human trafficking, move them into several gangs, gangsterism, and so many other things that are so terrible. A lot of social vices. So, parents, especially fathers, you need to think about your children and look for a way to support them, because children need help, they need support. And if we support our children, if we're out there doing everything we can to help them, then you will see how these children will strongly improve. They'll be better in their life. So I know we're having Father's Day, but I just felt it's important for us to remind ourselves. Sometimes we know these things, but we don't do them. But it's important to remind ourselves. And again, for those that are not yet fathers, you need to understand how crucial, how critical it is to be present and positively present in the life of any child that you have access to, because that will profoundly affect their life if you sit up and if you raise the bar of a positive role model in any child's life. I'm going to talk about the other aspect now, which is the rewards. The rewards of having a father present in a child's life is priceless. Absolutely priceless. The reward is absolutely priceless, because when a child have a father and the father is present in that child's life, I'm going to share a lot of few rewards that I have seen in the life of my kids, and me as an adult having a father in my life, what he did for me, and also having a positive role models for those that might have some challenges in their lives, not having a father present. And my heart goes out to anyone watching or those that are going to watch later that you never had a father in your life, whether you are a female or you are a male. My heart goes out for you, and I'm sorry for what you have been through. But it's important for us to also emphasize that fatherhood is relevant, is important. And we're not here to say that father is greater or better than a mother. Both are absolutely critical in the life of a child. So, this aspect, I'm going to talk about the rewards of having a father or a positive role model in your life or in the life of your children. And if you say you don't have a child today, or you're not even married, you're single, but as long as you give advice, you support, and you are involved in any youth group or any children services, it's important to know that they watch you, they look at you, and they want you to help them, but not in a negative way, but rather positively imparting their lives. So let's look at these important rewards of having a father in your life or the life of a child. The first one is emotional development. This is so important. Today was Father's Day, and I was reading what my two boys wrote in their card to me. My heart melted, because they watch me, the way I behave, the way I talk, the way I act. Right from small, they've been watching me, and they say some penitent things in that car today, and some things they got me as well was just who I am, and that is what they see, that is what they observe. All right. So I want us to know that as a father, it will be so sad that your children are copying. They're not maturing. They're not getting better, because emotional development is so critical in the life of any child or in the life of any person that you are dealing with, because behaviors, characters, their dispositions, children copy what they see from their fathers. If their father is very futuristic, is very outgoing, the father is, hands-on things, you will see the children indirectly will start becoming hands-on on those things. And that is why it's very, very important for you to know that emotional intelligence is key. Children will watch the way you react, the way you act, and how do you have happy emotions. Even when you argue, how do you resolve it? Are you someone that is very aggressive and angry all the time? The children are watching. Do you yell at their mom? Do you subdue her? Do you cause her pain? The children are watching. Every emotion you express, the children are watching. So, but when you have positive emotions, you are highly intelligent in your emotions, and the way you handle and do things, children will indirectly start copying that. And those around you without seeing these things. And they will not expect anything less. They will always want to be like their parents. A lot of children copy their parents. So, as one study found, a child between the age of 4 and 5 unconsciously sees their own attribute as an extension of their parents. And that is so true. I mean, if you watch children of this age, you will realize that a lot of these kids, they try to mimic their parents, they try to copy their parents, they try to imitate their parents. And if you have an outburst of emotions, negative emotions of anger all the time, you'll see them expressing that. Okay. If you're the one that is very aggressive, you see them expressing that. If you're always moody and sad, but if you're bubbly, fun, and happy, and always going out there, you want to join them in their things, even when they have challenges, they can see how you handle things. So you start teaching them problem solving indirectly, adaptability, flexibility, consideration. All these things will begin to happen because they are watching you. You see, mothers are very, very important. That's a fact. Mothers generally tend to focus on nurturing, while fathers quite often push achievements. Both are needed for normal, healthy development. Well, this is not a set in stone because mothers also push their children to achieve incredible things. There are a lot of children that have grown up today that have done great and incredible things today because of how they were pushed by their mothers as well. But as the mother nurtured them in their abuse, socially, the mother is nurturing them. Personally, the mother is nurturing them. Okay. And also trying to help them to develop. The father also have critical role to support their children to be better. So this emotional intelligence aspect is so critical and is so important for children to ensure that they develop well. Secondly, cognitive ability and educational achievements. You see, because naturally a man is full of testosterone. That's that adventurous hormone. Just trying to go and grab and get things. Men are driven to achieve. They want to be successful. They want to get it. They want to get that. So that level of ability can also be seen in the life of your child, and that is why it's very, very important that fathers are in in their children's life, because a research showed that suggests that adolescents with nurturing and involved that exhibit better academic achievement, verbal skills, and overall intellectual functioning. Because you look at some children, you wonder why they are where they are or why they are acting the way they are acting. If you think about it, sometimes it's lack of involvement of their parents, especially their dad in their life. Because when an adolescent or even a child sees the father getting involved in reading, in studying, in supporting them in math, arithmetic, or whatever things they're doing, that child will be moved. And also, you being there to support them in their homework, being there to discuss with them and help them out, it has a way to build these children up cognitively and increase their ability to achieve incredible successes in their lives. So, reward number two talks about cognitive ability and educational achievement. When that happens, you will see that your children will begin to excel. And again, if you're a male figure in a child's life, you need to support them, you need to help them, and need to increase them as well and push them so that they'll be better in their academics, better in the way they speak, in their communication skills, and so many other skills that can help them socially viable and important within their peers. This is why fathers are absolutely important. Now, I want to talk about the third one, learning to nurture healthy relationship. This is so profound, so profound. I think before I talk about this one and the rest of what I'm going to talk about, I'm just going to play a video, and that talks about the law framework mastery program that is coming up. We're going to be launching by the end of this month, and this is designed to help couples build incredible relationship, be better husband and wife. We're talking about Father's Day, and if you want to be a great father, if you want to support your wife, want to be a great dad, this law framework mastery program is exactly what you need, and it's going to be very empowering and very transformative. So we're just going to talk about the video very quickly, and then we'll come back and continue our section of reward of having a father or a male figure in a child's life. So we're back. Thank you so much. So that is the course that will be coming up by the end of this month called the Love Framework Master Program. You're gonna get more updates as that will be coming out. I'm really, really excited about that course. So I want to say again, happy Father's Day for those that are just watching, are gonna watch later. This is me saying happy Father's Day from Married Life TV. So we're talking about the rewards of having a father or male figure in a child's life. And we're looking at reward number three, which is learning to nurture healthy relationships. I mean, a lot of children copy so many things from their parents because if a child sees the dad treat the mother well, that child would know that yes, there's a possibility of a good relationship out there for me. And if child sees that the father is treating even the children, treating the female, treating their mother, being supportive and helpful, the chances is that that child will want to copy that as well. And that is why it's very, very important to ensure that kids see their parents or their positive role models in their life, male role models, as source of influence. If a child sees their parents in a positive, fulfilling relationship, it will help them understand what a healthy and collaborative relationship should look like. It's very easy to say, oh, don't do this, don't do that. But if the child sees the father responding in such a way that is very impactful in the life of their mother, they want to copy that. They want to do that as well. So that is why it's very, very important that we show to our kids what it means to have a wonderful relationship. If a father is abusive towards the mother, that's what the child picks up as a normal behavior. But that's completely unacceptable. So that is why fathers, you need to know that the way you treat your wife, the way you treat ladies around you, children, they are copying, they are seeing. So abuse is unacceptable, whether physically, emotionally, financially, sexually. All kind of abuse cannot be tolerated. And if you are doing that and your children are seeing that, you yell, you hit, you shout, you are really, really very hostile at home, and they're so scared of you. Indirectly, these children are subconsciously copying these things, and they will have trouble relationships tomorrow. But if you show them what a healthy relationship is all about, they will go out there and build healthy relationship as well. So fathers, let's know that it's important for us to realize that everything we do in our marriages with our wives, the children are watching and they are copying. If a child grows up and become abusive, a child grows up become depressed, become abusive physically, emotionally, violent against women and against girls, you'll be wondering, where did the child learn that from? Sometimes it's from the dad. So that is why it's important for dad to be careful and to be sensitive that children are copying them. Now, number four, reward for having a dad in your life is boosting self-esteem, especially in daughters. Now, this also happens in male as well, but it's important when a girl sees the father, right? If the girl sees the father doing things, acting things, and being in a way that the dad is not scared, or the dad is not seeing people bullying him, but the dad is positive and confident, that girl indirectly will start observing what the father is doing. Right now, researchers found that if there is a friction in a father and child relationship, it can have an adverse effect on the child's behavior. Now you wonder why some children are so timid, why some children are so over reserved, why some children are not able to express themselves with other peers, why some children are having so many social issues and interaction issues, their presentation issues, they don't see themselves as worth anything. A lot of times is because of absence of a father to reassure them when they were growing up, to teach them, to mentor them, to model them, to be a positive influence in their lives. And you end up seeing these ladies being abused by men, and sometimes they get attracted to the abusive ones because they don't know how to filter what is a good relationship. They don't know how to filter how to pray, how to depend on God, how to be wise. They don't know all these things. And that is why any guy that just come into their life, the gangster come, they go, the criminal come, the robber come, the pedophile come, and the girls are just following whatever guys they see. because the father was not there to teach them. The father was not there to guide them. And the father did not show a practical example before this girl in the presence of her mother so that she can see what exactly does it mean or look like to have a wonderful and amazing positive image in their lives. And if a girl has a father who is involved and is respectful to her mother, she expects that behavior from all men. She's not just gonna see an abusive relationship, an abusive person, and then she just wants to say, it doesn't really matter. Okay, I'm just gonna uh, do whatever and act whatever. So even the way she acts, the way she behaves, she sees a lot of these things from the parents' life, from the father's life. So that is why parents, especially dad, you cannot de-emphasize being involved in your girl's life. I know sometimes we have business, we have deadline, we have jobs, and we are everywhere, and you are not spending time with the girls. We're not spending time with the boys. We're not spending time with our wives. Then this thing indirectly will affect these ladies. And sometimes when they go out there, they don't know how to deal with the world. They don't know how to say no to things. And everything a guy says to them, they says yes, 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 yes. Even if the guy wants to destroy their life, they're saying yes, because nobody told them to say no. Nobody told them to say, well, look at this sign, look at these symptoms. Yeah, that's a signal. You don't try that, don't go there. Nobody taught them anything. And then even the father that is at home is very abusive, right? And use bad language on them. You are terrible language, demean language, and this thing affect them psychologically. Sometimes some girls, they are not able to express themselves even in their marriages because of the effect of what their father said to them when they were younger, when they were teenagers. Because of the way they were dealt with, they are just like almost behaving like, sorry to use the word, almost like they are slaves, because now their self-esteem is gone, their confidence is gone, the purpose for living is gone. And this is because of the way they were traumatized and abused by their fathers, or what they saw their father did to their mom. And now it has affected them psychologically. Sometimes some people just say, okay, I'm born again. Yes, I thank God, you give your life to Christ, you want to follow Christ and all that is great. And God does a lot of things in you. All right. And I thank God for the power of Christ in our lives. But when Christ have done all this, it's important for you to, make sure that these things does not still remain there. Those trauma, those psychological pain, and all those things you went through, because there are so many marriages today that has been is terrible. Why? Because of the way some of these girls were treated when they were younger. And I just pray that my heart goes out to you for you to do something and to come back. Now let's look at the fifth one: coping with stress. It's important to know that stress is part of life. Okay, stress is part of life. We're living in this world, all right, and there are deadlines. There are a couple of things we need to do. But when a child has a father in her life or in his life, stress from school, stress from assignment, stress from deadline, stress from homework, stress from this, stress from that, that child will be so happy that the dad is there to support all the way. It's not an absent dad. So that is why this is so important for us to know that, having a dad in your life will go a long way. I mean, if you're watching me, you're an adult today. You know some things you are going through right now. It's because of some of the things that happened when you were younger, a teenager, right? Because of no father, no positive role model. Even when father was there, they were not helping you and supporting you. So if you're yet to be a father, it's important to be aware of this. Men who had a strong and positive relationship with their father during childhood were better able to cope with stressful events, because they will teach them strategy, they will teach them survival techniques and problem solving, creativity. There's so many things the father will teach the child, whether a male or a female, to survive in this world and how to deal with stress. In fact, there was a study again that said, one study even found that if children who have a good relationship with their dad are less likely to experience depression or have destruction tendencies later. And this ability to cope with stress. So if children are able to have good relationship with their fathers, they will go a long way to also start having a better life and better experience, instead of all the time feeling depressed and distorted and completely disrupted because of a couple of things that they are trying to exhibit. So, fathers, let's do whatever we can to help them and teach them and be there for them, because it will help them to deal with stress. For those joining, please put down your comments, and we're going to respond to you. And I believe that God is also going to help us to continue to be better fathers to our children. And finally, I want to talk about spiritual development. Spiritual development. I strongly believe that we're spiritual beings, created by God, and father has been given huge responsibility, to train, to be a leader in their homes, to ensure the children learns from the scriptures, know how to study the Bible, how to pray, and also prayerfully lead them to God. Okay, and not allowing them to saturate their lives with things that can definitely affect them tomorrow. So, be having a father in your life, or having someone that can positively influence you spiritually, hugely will impact the life of children. And I cannot de-emphasize this. This is so critical in our days, because if you look at what is going on today all around us, and we see the level of morality among children, teenagers, youngsters, is incredibly challenging to even think or comprehend. And a lot of times it's because of the absence of fathers. God is calling fathers to take their role and their responsibility of being father, to support and to help those that is giving them responsibility to care for. So that brings me to the end of this Father's Day presentation to all our fathers and fathers to be. I will encourage you to support the kids. And we have seen the reality of being a father, which is very, very important. And also, we have seen the risk of being a father. The student can develop aggression, relationship problems, insecurity. And we have seen that there are a lot of rewards for having a father figure in your life. The first one, we talked about emotional development. Secondly, we talked about cognitive ability and educational achievement. Thirdly, we talk about learning to nurture healthy relationships. And fourthly, we talked about boosting self esteem, especially in daughters. Number five, we talked about coping with stress. And finally, we talked about spiritual development. Fathers are important, fathers are critical. And I want to say, happy Father's Day. Please share this video to all fathers that you know, and fathers to be, and those that are there to impart and influence the life of children positively. And I believe that as we do so, God is going to bless you. Enjoy your day, all fathers and fathers to be, until we speak again. God bless you, and continue to be incredible and amazing father to all your children. God bless you. Happy Father's Day.